CheekySport on Rinse.
Well, hey, you are on CheekySport RinseFM, and you're here with your boy, CheekySport Akeem. You're here with
Jaik.
You're here with
Rory.
Just Jaik and Rory. Listen, there's no Jermaine, there's no Big J, there's no CheekySport J, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, we locked him away. We don't want him anymore. He's gone. He's gone.
I've just seen a picture of him wearing a Celine Dion t-shirt in Las Vegas.
Exactly.
I know,
that's it.
I know.
He's out of here. We took him away. Yeah.
You'll get slapped back.
CheekySport Chris. What happened to him?
I don't know. I haven't seen. Everybody's going to be so disappointed.
He's gone as well. He's gone.
You keep reminding
we
everyone
got
who's
rid
not
of him.
Here.
We got rid of him. Yeah. We don't want him. No, I'm joking. Look, one of them's in Vegas. The other one's in LA, and I'm in sunny London. Is he in LA? I'm in rainy. Yeah, I'm in rainy London.
Well, Chris.
Unfortunately, so don't let me feel bad. Come on. I've got.
Big up, Chris.
I've got to be a bit more excited. Look, we're here with Cheeky Sport, and obviously we're here with a Fulham fan. We're actually here with a Chelsea fan as well. Boo. We're going to jump straight back into it. We're going to jump straight into it. What we want to talk about to start with is really kind of what's happened so far, you know, over the last couple of days. Pulis getting sacked, which is breaking news. What I really want to find out from you guys is Tony Pulis. Look, West Brom, has been in a position where they've kind of been 10th, 14th. I think they then were 10th again last season. I think they've won 2 in 22 Premier League games, but they've been stable. Was it a good decision for Pulis to get sacked?
Yes.
And secondly, did you think it was going to happen anyway before it actually happened? So what's your thoughts? Firstly, Rory.
They had to sack him. I was at West Brom. I was at the Hawthorns on Saturday, and they were appalling. They were so bad. It was one of the worst teams I've seen.
Oh,
play.
come on, that's a little bit harsh.
No, they genuinely
you can't
were.
say.
No, honestly, Akeem, they were so bad, and it was a poisonous atmosphere in that ground. It's a beautiful old ground, the Hawthorns. I really like going there. It's perfect away end, and I mean it. It was so poisonous. Their fans are constantly singing. The entire ground was serenading their players with chants about getting a manager out. The chairman of the club flew over specifically for that game, and all he would have heard,
gave him that chunly chop.
All he would have heard was their fans slating not only the manager but the way that he plays the game.
I tell you the funniest thing about it is that all they kept showing was quick shots over to the owners, and like them just with their arms folded, basically like, it's not, this ain't good, is it? It's not good.
This can't run. This cannot run.
You know when like a kid looks back at the parents and they're like, they don't even have to say any words. They're just like looking at you and just like shake your head. And all I remember is Pulis on his post-match interview basically just saying, I think that someone asked, what do you think of the owners? And they were like, they're nice guys, yeah. And I was like,
but that's changed now.
It's too late to suck up.
Ask him now. Ask him what he thinks of them now. Yeah.
Suck up. You're out. And the reason why they've come over, they haven't come over for a party. They haven't come over to enjoy the great London weather. They've come to chop you down in the Midlands. They've come over to the Midlands to say, you know what? I'm sorry, Pulis, you've made me get on a plane. You've made me have to go through security.
The thing is about West Brom is if you look at the last year and a half, look at all the players that have scored for them. They haven't got a prolific striker that scored week in, week out. They got Rondon. Yeah, but he hasn't, brother. Have you seen his stats? No. The guy scores like once every 10 games. No. It's ridiculous. Like,
can't do that.
Every time I watch Match of the Day and watch West Brom, every goal is from a corner. McCauley scoring.
Can I say, look?
Yeah, Johnny Evans is
Johnny Evans is their biggest threat.
I'm going to stop you guys. I'm going to stop you guys for a second. Look, how could you say he was worthy of the sack? Look, this is one of the most successful.
I'm not saying he's fully worthy, but I think I'm not disregarding the decision for him to go.
This kind of segues onto this whole situation, I think, with the Premier League and the Premier League era as it stands. You know, who does West Brom think they are? Who do you think you are, mate?
Yeah, but they're
bloody West Brom.
Yeah, but they're one place above the relegation zone, and that's a step backwards.
You're West Brom.
It's a step backwards, though.
No, it's a step back.
They're a mid-table side.
Step back from what?
From being in mid-table.
I think that they've done it.
A stable side. They're not a stable side anymore.
I'll just say this before you say this, Rory. Look, with respect to West Brom, the way the league is at the moment, besides pretty much Palace, and from 7th, I think, to 18th or 19th, there's only about 6 or 7 points.
Yeah, it's a dreadful league.
So to say we're 14th is really irrelevant.
Yeah, but if you look at one of Pulis' main things, which is being organised, that's the one thing they haven't been this season. They were 3-0 down at half-time against Chelsea. They didn't really offer anything for them to show.
But are you trying to say, Jaik, that if he didn't go, he would have got them relegated? Is that what
I'm not saying that, but it's nowadays in the Premier League, it's so hard to rely on the fact of, he might keep us up. People want clarification they're going to stay up. And I'm not saying that sacking him and then bringing someone else in is going to keep him up, but
it might. Whereas at the moment they're going down.
Yeah, right now they're going down.
At the moment they're
not. I think at the moment, though, to be fair, I think there's a lot of weak teams.
There are
some terrible teams.
It's an awful season.
So really, are they prone to going down? No, I don't
at the moment.
so.
Yeah, definitely.
At the moment, they honestly they were so bad against Chelsea. They were so bad.
But that could be because
one thing you've got to remember is if West Brom fans are reacting like that in the stadium, there's a massive reason behind that.
They know what they're talking about.
Exactly, they see their team week in, week out, and there's obviously a reason as to why they're being like that.
The whole game, they're singing, and obviously I won't do it word for word, but they're giving it Tony Pulis. Your football's terrible, right? They're saying. So they're making a judgment not only based on the man and the results, but they're basing it on everything that they're sitting through. They're paying their hard-earned money, and they're going up, they're turning up every week, and they're watching dross. They're basing it on that. They're basing it on that. And I can't tell if you're doing this like devil's advocate thing to hear from us, or if you
actually are.
No, I genuinely feel
because you can't think that they should keep him.
Pulis should have stayed because who do you think you are, West Brom? I've got to say it again. Who do you think you are?
You're going to say that. You're going to say that about every other team outside the top six.
Yeah, correct.
But
look,
but everyone has different expectations outside the top six compared to Man United fans.
This is what it comes down to. I'm sorry. I'm talking to a Fulham fan.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm talking to a Fulham fan. But look, expectations is a definition. Ultimately, that it's the foothold of the club. So what the expectations is based on is it dictates the amount they spend in the transfer market, the size of their budget. In general, the size of the club long term, pretty much, it goes a long way. But I think I'm not trying to say, in other words, I'm not trying to say they shouldn't have high expectations. That's not what I'm trying to say. But things take time. You can't go from a club that finished 10th. And what do you expect? You've done poor in the transfer market. What do you expect is going to happen? You think you're going to finish 7th?
The thing is, one thing you got to remember is if you're paying to go and see your team play week in, week out, you have a right to have an opinion about what you want as a style of football. And the style of football they play at West Brom is awful.
But style of football doesn't really matter. Results matter.
They do. No, they do. But okay, I'll give you...
Results matter if your... Results matter when you're winning. If you're not going to win, then
it's
about how you play and how you conduct the club. Like, come on, Akeem, mate. That has got Tony Pulis standing on the sideline in his baseball cap. Has got to be one of the least inspiring.
You can't say that.
I always feel a bit weird about that as well. I don't know what he's going to get up to afterwards. You know what I mean?
It's the least inspiring sight in football. It's the least inspirational man.
It is.
In fact, you know what they've done? They've replaced him with a fit. So that was my opinion. Now I'm going to give you the fact on the least inspirational man. They've replaced him with Gary Megson. Like, you think, what are you...
Gary Megson, equality.
When I think of Grey, I think of Gary Megson.
Yeah.
That's what I think of Gary Megson.
Yeah, an ill Grey.
Yeah, an ill Grey, yeah.
Someone who's a bit under the weather Grey.
Yeah, like, you don't want to go near him.
You can't say Rory because of... Look, that means Pochettino. Yeah, I know I'm saying that wrong. I don't care.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's that? Is he a League 2 manager?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think Pochettino. Yeah.
We need Jermaine back. Jermaine, if you're watching, Jermaine,
I didn't realise that.
This is a plea. Can you please come back?
I didn't know Paul Merson was the host today.
Exactly. He's tried. He's proved that he's not up to the job.
Pochettino.
Akeem, you've tried hard. You've tried hard. You've done your best. But Jermaine. Get back here. When Jermaine lands in England, do you know what I'm going to become? I'm going to become, you know that little emoji? You know that little emoji that's like that? When Jermaine lands, everyone's watching, going to be like,
the brown one? The brown one looks like a pyramid.
Thank God he's back.
Now, look, Jermaine hasn't got Wi-Fi because he's in a closet, mate. So, moving on.
Well, that's another subject.
Moving on to that. Look. Pochettino, yeah.
Do you need me to do it for you? No. Shall I just do this?
Pochettino.
There we go. Thank you.
Pochettino, yeah. Pochettino, yeah.
And
old Pep
Guardiola.
Guardiola.
For a second,
old Pep Guardiola. Look, Just because they dress in Massimo Datti and Cos or whatever, they go.
I don't think they're wearing Massimo Datti, mate. They're not shopping in Brent Cross. They're not shopping in Massimo Datti.
These are getting a couple million a year, and you're talking about.
I'm sorry. So what? Massimo Datti's not good.
Was that your go-to? Was that your like reaching for like the best brands you could think of? Was that you like? Oh mate, they've got loads of money. They must shop in Massimo.
You know the ones when you're 18. You're like, hey, man's gonna get that one, you know.
Go down Camden Palace. Like, gonna get myself something.
Got that re-up money.
For your everyday clothes as a manager, as your everyday clothes as a manager, I think you got to look a bit like Tony Pulis now and again. You got to look a bit like you're going to play football. You don't want to come in bloody Massimo Datti, and Cos.
Still running with this one, Massimo Datti.
Hugo Barstego. That's it, right? But look, on a serious note, Tony Pulis, I wish him well because I don't think he should have got sacked. And the same thing happened with Clark, I think, before him, who got sacked too early.
Yeah, I think Clark
West Brom has made multiple mistakes in that because they think that they are bigger than they are. And this could act as a downfall because you talk about exciting, expansive football. In that case, Bournemouth is a few losses from getting sacked as well, Eddie Howe. Because
I think Bournemouth,
although they play exciting, they are also
they're not an established Premier League side yet. They've only been in the league for a few years. Yeah. For them, the main thing is just to establish himself as a Premier League side.
Absolutely.
Well, West Brom's completely different.
Your opinion, we're hoping that the expectations stay the same. But okay, we'll ask the fans, guys. Do you think Tony Pulis got sacked too early? Or do you think, which obviously is what I think, or do you think, like these two schmucks, do you think
schmuck? That's another. Is that your go-to cuss? You've got Massimo Datti.
I'm surprised
I can say schmuck, but I can't say Potticino. Yeah.
I'm surprised you said Pulis correctly as well.
I can't even say his first name. What's it? Maurizio. Yeah,
Maurizio.
Anyway, Maurizio. Anyway.
Chorizo, you said.
Chorizo Potticino.
Chorizo Potticino.
Anyway, look, what we want to move on to is the rest of the weekend fixtures really, really briefly. So sorry to Jaik. We're not going to talk about the championship, even though
I don't really want to.
Chris
anyway.
Coleman is at what many people call the top 10 biggest clubs in the world. He's just gone to, which is Sunderland, to take them off.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
They're awful.
Who on earth calls it that? Who on earth says
in
that?
the UK? Yeah, sorry, many people do.
Oh right,
yeah.
Really? I don't know who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
People say that because of the size of their football club.
Well, because of the ground.
The size of their ground as well.
They're not a big football club. They've got a big
50,000, which was filled every week.
No, it's 40 something. It's
49.
Okay, all right. We'll take.
Anyway, look, it doesn't matter. Look, point is, we're not talking about Fulham.
There's about 10 there now.
Right, so
that stadium's so empty.
Let's move on to. We don't want to talk about Craven Cottage and the prawn sandwiches.
Ooh.
Right, sorry.
3 gigs in a row.
And the CheekySport seats.
Yeah, you're right, actually. You're right. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the weekend fixtures really briefly. Look, Chelsea absolutely blasted through West Brom. Man United won, Arsenal won, City won, all convincingly. Liverpool won convincingly as well.
Yeah.
Tottenham's the only one who didn't, but they're still in that hunt. Really, what's going on now in the top 6, it seems to be taking shape. And really, I wanted you guys' thoughts on, who looks like, firstly, does anyone look like they are going to take over City? If so, who? And if not, who is really going to be the leading one team of the chasing pack out of those?
I think personally, despite Tottenham's result, I think Chelsea and Tottenham are the two teams. I don't see United, I don't know what it is about United this season. I'm a bit hesitant about how they're going to sustain themselves. Chelsea look like they're hitting form. Tottenham had a bad result, but I think once they get into the season properly, I think it would be them two, personally.
Arsenal?
Nah. They've had a good game, but we've seen this how many times over the last 4 or 5 years? It's been the same thing. Big result. Everyone gets gassed. Troops and DT are doing skitty pat on Arsenal and then we're back again. And then they'll go and play Burnley. They'll go and lose at Burnley. That's what's going to happen.
Which makes the game pointless beating Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good at the time, but then they'll go and lose next week. That's what happens with Arsenal. And
the Tottenham manager. See, I'm calling him the Tottenham manager now. Yeah.
Now go on, give it one more go. All
right. Chorizo Potticino. Yeah. But he just literally, he took off Harry Kane, he took off Dele Alli, and he probably did put his hands in his pockets and think, look, we lost this one. But
Tottenham weren't getting into
the difference is we'll probably win next week, and you guys probably won't.
Arsenal got it spot on. They got it spot on. They pressured him.
They deserved to win.
They literally, I didn't see any chance, any way of them scoring on Saturday. And
thoughts?
I actually disagree. I think, in no particular order, I think the top 4 are going to be the 2 Manchester clubs, Chelsea, and I actually think Arsenal are going to break back in. I think Liverpool are looking, Liverpool looking good. Mo Salah is signing of the summer.
Yeah, based on
signing
in relative terms, based
playing
on
very well, but I don't think they've got the depth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Tottenham are gonna really struggle. I think that they're gonna qualify from their European group. They basically have done it already. When it's February and you're going to play a game in the FA Cup, a game in the Champions League, and then it's going to go Saturday, Wednesday for them. Their home form hasn't been great already, and I just think it's going to be too much.
But do you not think that's the same problem Chelsea have on size of squad? I think you two have the two smallest squads out of the top 6 or 7.
Chelsea's first team is blessed. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But aside from
starting 11?
Our starting 11, yeah. Our first team on paper is excellent. As soon as you start picking up injuries or any suspensions or whatever, we're in trouble. And do
you have a clause with any of these loan players to come back?
Yeah, there's a chance. I think there's a chance.
Because some of them are locked down.
Tammy Abraham's the one who Chelsea at least everybody's talking about.
But he won't do that because he won't risk the World Cup. He won't risk not getting in the World Cup squad to be on the bench.
Well, it's a way to guarantee getting in the World Cup squad, though, isn't it? To come back to Chelsea, nick 8 goals between Christmas and the end of the season.
It's unrealistic, though. I think it's more realistic for him to score for Swansea.
I think Tammy Abraham's got a really interesting situation now, because I think that at Chelsea, whatever the question is, whatever question you ask of Chelsea, Antonio Conte never thinks the answer is Michy Batshuayi. Cool, I'd like to see you say that. I don't think the answer is ever Michy Batshuayi in Conte's head. For whatever reason, I think Batshuayi's scoring record is very impressive. It's actually record-breakingly good, really good. But Conte doesn't seem to rate him. So I think if Tammy Abraham comes back off the back of pinging in a few for Swansea, he could become the second striker to Morata. And if he does that, he's in England.
I think he'll disagree. He won't want to come back. I don't think. I think he likes being. He needs to be in a team.
I don't know if it's up to him though. I think if they offer him some sort of guarantee that he's going to start a certain amount of games, I think he would come back, because
you've got to remember he could come back. He could. I mean, I'm being really optimistic here, but he potentially comes back and plays a Champions League final. Potentially, no player turns that down.
What, to the Champions League final?
Well, yeah, Ryan Bertrand made his debut. Ryan Bertrand made his debut for Chelsea.
Do you think Chelsea's going to go Champions League final?
I'm talking best case scenario. Best case scenario.
Your group, mate.
No, we're sweet. We're sweet. As long as you get a good result.
You got roasted by Roma.
They were good. They were good. We did. But it's the reason we're going to do all right isn't because of our brilliance. We're going to do all right because Atletico Madrid balls it up. Atletico Madrid balls it up against Karabag in both games. Yeah. So we only took a point in the 2 middle games.
That was incredibly lucky for you.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Because otherwise you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. But we're going to qualify from the group, and then it's anybody's. But the point I'm making is Tammy Abraham could come back to a club competing in the Champions League. He's not going to say no to that. I mean, even if he does say no, he's contracted a Chelsea player.
Yeah, true.
But have they paid a fee for him, Swansea, for the loan?
But it only goes till January anyway. They need to extend it. They need to extend it anyway.
Well, we'll see what happens. So to answer, basically, long story short, is anyone going to catch Man City then?
Nah, not this season.
So
I don't see it happening.
Can I ask why would you say that in November? Just out of interest.
It's premature.
It is very premature. But if I was to make a decision, it'd have to be City, because
you're not one of those premature guys, are you?
Don't ask. No.
You flustered him there. You don't know what to say.
Flashbacks. You know what I mean? No. How you gonna do me dirty like that, man?
Oh, you done me dirty with the Pochettino and stuff, innit? I had to fire back. I had to fire back, man. I had to fire back.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, so
no, it's because they look.
Even though you didn't answer the question.
No. My point is, they've got a starting 11 and they've got a second starting 11. They can chop and change that squad so much that even if a player gets injured or suspended, they've got a ready-made replacement for that person. So that's why I feel like, compared to last season where Guardiola was just dabbling with the Premier League, he'd only just started. I think now he's got a grasp of it, and he's got a winning formula, and I think that's just going to last throughout the whole season.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens.
I just don't see it changing.
We'll see what happens. I personally think they're going to finish third.
Well, you think Pep's a fraud, don't you?
That's my fault.
I always forget that.
Third because
you think Pep's
you can't do that. You can't just drop. I think they're going to finish third and then go to move on. People watching are going to want to hear more about that.
No, because look, people who have watched 3 times will always know. Look, even the producers are nodding their head. Yeah, basically, no.
There's a mixed reaction behind the camera.
They're basically going to nod that looks like that, which I think it's a new type of like nod. I think it's a new type of nod, but either way, Mate, this ain't the bloody circus.
What are you saying, Pochettino? I don't know.
Hey, but anyway, look. So, look. The reason why is because when City, and I'm not going to spend long. I'm going to spend 30 seconds explaining this. City have always smacked teams up 6-0, 7-2, 5-2, 3-0. They've been doing that for years. Back when Jaik and Negredo was at the club. When Mancini was there. When people thought Mancini's a genius. Yeah, I'm purposely doing that. I know it's Mancini. I'm purposely doing that.
You're banning me now.
I'm doing that. Mancini. Yeah, when he was there. Yeah, and Pellegrino came on. Yeah. Regardless, they always continue to score goals. But for some reason, when Pep does it, yeah. Oh wow, he scored so many goals. Look,
this is a bit different. Look,
I know what you're going to say. At the back, they were strong, and they are strong at the back now, 100%. But they're strong at the back, but they've still conceded a hell of a lot of goals for a team that is as strong as people say they are. So that's my point. That's it. I'm done.
Fair enough.
And they'll get found out.
You're wrong, but yeah.
They'll get found out. Anyway, so we'll move on. See, look, that was so good, Pellegrino and Mancini talk, that no one had anything to say. So we move on. Look, I want to go back into this whole overall situation in the Premier League of people getting sacked, because already Pulis has got sacked, and now people are saying, look, which manager really is next? What I want to really ask you guys is, who do you think is the next manager to get sacked and why? And do you think it is genuinely fair to not give managers a certain amount of time? And the reason why I say that is if Carlos Puel, or whatever his name is, or Puel, yeah, Carlos Puel, yeah, for Leicester,
oh mate, I'm worried about you.
If he loses 3 to 5 games in a row, should he be up for the instant chop? Or do you carry on?
Okay, we know that in the Premier League, the way that it works is there is a ridiculous amount of sackings, right? I mean, if you look back over the years, you probably go 10 last year, 12 the year before, 13 the year before, back to 10. 20. Absolutely. Over half the managers who start the season don't finish it. So it's a very ruthless job. A lot of the time there are premature sackings. It's for you, that. There are some. A lot of the time there are premature sackings, and it's unwarranted.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that every time somebody's sacked, it's the wrong decision. And you know, you thinking that getting rid of Pulis is out of order, I think is baffling. And the next, I think that the vast majority of times that these managers do lose their job. So
should Ranieri have lost his job at the time?
I don't think it should have.
That was a very tricky one.
Because it's not tricky. No, because he was on a terrible run. They were on a terrible run. They were the league champions.
No,
that was more reason to get sacked. No,
they haven't improved.
It was more reason for him to get sacked than Pulis getting sacked. And I'll tell you why.
It's a different scenario.
In my opinion, they were the league champions. And
that was an anomaly.
No, you can't say that.
It's an anomaly.
Because it wasn't, though.
We can.
Because it wasn't an anomaly.
It's two very different situations. Pulis and Ranieri are two completely different situations.
Do you know what, though, Akeem? They lost. Like, whether you think Ranieri was harshly treated or not, the facts of the matter are that he lost the dressing room. They went away to. I mean, the facts of the matter are that they left. He lost the dressing room. They went away to Atletico Madrid, and a few of the players apparently went and spoke to the chairman behind Ranieri's back. Once that thing starts happening, whether you're right or wrong, we had it at Chelsea with Mourinho, the most recent time he was sacked.
So you're going to admit that you did the team did conspire against Mourinho?
Yeah, that did happen. But the problem with it is, whether it's right or wrong, if you've got a situation where the players don't have full faith in the manager, the only option is to sack the manager, because you can't sack 25 players. So when it becomes the manager or the players,
but you can't. I don't think you can ever start going into conspiring against managers. If you say that, then that means you're agreeing that teams purposely lose, and teams purposely play badly.
I wouldn't say purposely lose, managers can get sacked. They don't have the same effort to put into the game. So they won't put 100% in because they don't believe in a manager.
Diego Costa's form in the year where Chelsea finished 10th was nothing short of atrocious. Diego Costa is also one of my favourite ever Chelsea players and one of the best strikers I've ever had the privilege of watching. But
that's going a bit far.
Oh mate, he's an unbelievable player. His goal scoring record is absolutely phenomenal. Like he could score goals anywhere in all sorts of.
You wouldn't say top 10 though, would you?
Top 10? What? Chelsea players?
No, just overall strikers you've seen.
I'd say he's probably in the top 3 strikers. I'd say in the Premier League there are only 2 strikers that were better than him, and that was Aguero and Kane. He was Diego Costa was flawless.
Oh, come on.
All types of goals.
Come on, Shearer.
Oh no,
Andy
sorry.
Cole.
I'm currently playing a game. Diego Costa certainly makes that list. I'm not, I haven't really thought about where, but Diego Costa was great. However, like you've got to remember, he scored sort of 60 goals over the course of 3 seasons, including having a season off.
Yeah.
And when he had that season off, he did so because he
fell
out of love with the manager.
He scored about 60.
I think so, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
But he fell out of love with the manager and didn't really kick a ball.
But then even when you got the new manager, you still didn't kick. My point is that I think sometimes managers get the blame when the reality is it's an internal issue that necessarily the manager just can't fix. I know the manager has the responsibility, but the reality is that come on, they're professionals here. They're professionals. No, it's just like a few weeks ago with what Valencia done. Not Valencia. Antonio. Antonio done with when Slaven Bilic was manager. But when Slaven Bilic was manager, look what happened in that game. You know what I'm really talking about, Antonio. Look. That's just common sense. People said, "Oh, look, Bilic should have, got them to reshape." That's common sense.
No, but it's cumulative, isn't it? That isn't the one thing. That isn't the one thing that went wrong.
Because I heard someone say that, they wanted Slaven to get sacked. That's the reason why the West Ham players done something.
I think the West Ham players did lose full faith in him, but. Yeah. The reason that Bilic got sacked is because of practically a year's worth of bad results, not because Mikel Antonio made an error.
But then also at West Ham, you have a lot of on-off players. Arnautovic being one. Carroll's. You don't even know when he's fit. He's been on. He's been out injured for God knows how long.
He's sick now.
As they say, he's a hospital patient who's had his career blighted by football games. That's what's happened.
That's true.
It's true.
What I wanted to just say then in that case is
that's one of the issues at West Ham, amongst many others.
Do you know what we need to talk about? If we're going to talk about Mikel Antonio, have you heard the song that West Ham fans sing for Mikel Antonio to the tune of Salt and Pepper's Push It?
Go on then.
I'm not doing it. I'm obviously not going to serenade you.
Why did you do
it? But it is undoubtedly like one of the...
Please do a little bit, at least. Come on. We'll cheer you on.
I honestly, you can't just randomly clap. That was appalling. It's not nursery rhyme. No, but Mikel Antonio is...
Mate, sing the song. We don't hear about it.
It goes something like, he played at right back. He couldn't get a game. He went to Forest. It just wasn't the same. But now he's up front. Sit back and watch him go. He plays for West Ham. Mikel Antonio.
Alright, wheel it up. Alright, someone wheel that.
But that's quality, innit? I mean, that's quality on a
definitely.
If you start amending Salt and Pepper songs for the stands at West Ham,
I've
got only love for that player because Salt and Pepper are the song.
Yeah,
it's funny because I thought the song sucked, but
whoa.
Bloody hell.
Whoa. Sorry, mate.
Whoa.
But I enjoyed the melody.
The music
I enjoyed the melody. It was good.
I've heard the tunes you listen to, Akeem. I wouldn't really.
I
wouldn't really be too worried about that.
Look, just finishing up on this topic then, yeah? Finishing up on the topic. So, you guys are quite, aggressive towards this decision of most managers get sacked at the right time. So what I want to say then is are you saying that there's no manager that really got sacked early over the last couple of years?
Of course there has been, but
if so, but at the moment it sounds like you guys just think you
just got to accept the current trend. Like football's changed a lot in the last 5 to 6 years, where clubs would have held on to managers a lot longer, but now there's so much money, there's so much expectation, there's a lot of things riding on games and being in the Premier League that it makes it a lot more difficult.
All right, fair enough.
For them to keep managers in.
My major issue with it, though, isn't that they're getting sacked. It's that the same old managers are coming back into the game.
Yeah, it's just a circulation.
It's so boring. Like, how... things should be a meritocracy, shouldn't they? If you do well in your job here, right, you get rewarded for that.
Yeah, but don't work like that,
and you get rewarded for that. With them, you get some moron like David Moyes, who
literally
goes to Spain, does a terrible thing, takes Sunderland down, and somehow has been given another job.
Exactly.
Like,
you can't call him a moron though, because of what he done with Everton.
Did.
What he done at Everton.
Yeah, but okay. Imagine
for 10 years. He took him from a relegation battling club to a top tier.
But imagine that
club.
if you're working in a job.
Yeah.
And you had a really good year 4 years ago, and then for the last 3 years you've been awful.
Yeah.
employers aren't going to look at you and say, but he had that one good year.
No,
they're going to say,
but
he's been sacked from his last 3 jobs.
What they will say is, but he had a very good 10 years. Mate, where he took the company from X to X. So look,
he took Sunderland down. He doesn't deserve this job.
To be fair, that team was doomed. That team was doomed. Wasn't it?
That team was doomed anyway. But it's the manner in which they went down. They went down so bad.
So that means in that same fall, that means you think Jose Mourinho didn't deserve to get a Man United job then after what he done at Chelsea?
It's a very different. Jose Mourinho's won European Cups. Right? We're talking about David Moyes, who didn't win a trophy at Everton.
But I think
spent a lot of money at Everton.
Just to finish up on this, I think it is slightly unfair to say that, because what David Moyes, what Sam Allardyce, and what some of these other boys have done, what some of these boys have done is actually in relative terms as good as what Mourinho, Conte, Wenger has done. Because to take a club from a relegation dogfight, or even what Eddie Howe's done, which is absolutely phenomenal, from a championship side to what they are now, is actually better than what some of these clubs have done relatively.
I'll give you an example. Roy Hodgson got us from relegation to the European Cup final, and then he left the England job in one of the most farcical circumstances in our lifetime anyway. Would you say he deserves to manage a West Brom or like a team higher than that?
I don't know. Do you know what? We're going to let the fans tell us. They're going to let the fans tell us. Look, do you think the likes of David Moyes shouldn't have been given a second chance? Do you think some managers have been sacked a little bit too early? Or managers like Roy Hodgson shouldn't be in the game? Again. Let us know. Roy Hodgson, David Moyes, Sam Allardyce, should these guys not ever be coming back to the Premier League? Or is it a case that they should come back because of what they've done and past merits? We don't want new guys in the Premier League. We don't want this new Chris Moyles or Benedict Armstrong. We don't want these guys. We want the new people. The old guys, the old guard. Yeah? That's what we want. Guys, let us know in the comments below what you'd prefer. It's been an amazing show. Shout out to RinseFM. Make sure you follow RinseFM on Instagram. Rinsegram. It's an exciting page. I love it. CheekySport Insta. All of it's going to be downstairs, which is also the same as in the description below. Yeah, I'm a bit saucy today. Make sure you follow myself on ak.oj. Look, you need to be able to spell my name. Yeah, if you don't, make sure you just work it out. All right. We'll let you. Look,
oh, you're in it.
Rory, shout out yourself.
I'm at Chelsea Rory. Nice one.
Nice and simple. Look at that.
I'll go, bro.
Jaik.
Just at GRM Daily. Don't worry about my personal one.
Look at that. Don't worry about the personal. Make sure you dig out his personal one. We're going to put that in the description. Guys, it's all love. We've loved being on the show today. Peace out. Make sure you check us out on SoundCloud, on Instagram, and most importantly on iTunes. Love, love, love.
Bebo, MySpace.
See you later.
What do you think of the England team? Like Dyer captain and Livermore and Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek is hard though.
How's Livermore in the England national team?
Wait. Don't criticise him because he's there.
No disrespect to Livermore. No disrespect, but let's be real. Let's keep it real.
He's a good player. He's top player.
He's not good enough.
Well, you see,